please, if it's possible.
There's no space over there, and our cameras are over there. If we journalists go there, we'll be blocking our camera. I have a camera right there.
Okay.
So, I don't know, maybe we can have another.
Oh, you?
You can put it on.
No, I have my mic stand.
Oh.
These two chairs are free, then. They are free? We have two here that are free.
Are the mics on? Can you put them on?
Are we set?
Shall we start?
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Ministers, the Minister of Information, Honorable Dr. Ismail Sise, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Bakari Baji, Permanent Secretary, senior government officials, members of the press corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ibrahim Sankare and I'm chairing this press conference. This is a press conference that brings together three ministries: the Ministry of Information, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, and the Ministry of Local Government Administration, Lands or whatever, the Honorable Ahmad Ba. Due to some previous engagement, Honorable Ba is unable to be here for now. However, in due course, the Honorable Minister will join us. But because Honorable Baji had previous scheduled engagements, so we have to begin so that he can deliver his statement and take few questions and then depart. Meanwhile, Dr. Ismail Sise would update us on certain significant developments that have been unfolding in this country in the past week or so. So to proceed, I would invite Dr. Sise to come and unveil those reports, and then thereafter, Honorable Baji would also take the floor. Thank you and welcome to this press conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Spokesperson Sankano, senior government officials, deputy permanent secretaries, PSCs that are also present here today. And good morning to every Gambian, wherever you are, whether you are in the Gambia or outside of the Gambia. Before the press conference starts, I'd like to give updates from the government of the Gambia. The first update is coming from the Ministry of Trade, Regional Employment, Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. Now the ministry wishes to inform the public that there is enough cement in the country. I repeat, they want to inform the public that there is enough cement in the country, far more than the national demand requires. That as of today or yesterday, the 4th of June 2024, the three companies that produce or bag cement in the Gambia, that is Gasem, Jah Multi Industries and Salam, have the following amount in stock. For Jah Multi Industries, otherwise known as Jah Cement, currently they have 19,000 metric tons of cement in stock. By mid-June, they will increase this volume to 29,000 metric tons. And by the end of June, they will further increase this stock to 36,660 metric tons. And in the first week of July, they will have 39,000 metric tons. Now for Gasem Limited, they currently have 6,500 metric tons of cement in stock, and by the 15th of June, they will have 15,000 metric tons of cement in stock. Salam currently has 70,200 metric tons in stock. Furthermore, the ministry also wants to inform the public and retailers of cement, in particular the wholesale price of cement by local factories have not changed since the introduction of the measure, which was introduced to pay 180 in tax at the border. That the wholesale price of 42.5 R of cement at Jam Multi Industries remains at $335 per 50 kilogram bag, and for Gasem is $388 per 50 kilogram bag for the 42.5 R cement. And the wholesale price of 32.5 R of cement from Salam is $330 per bag. The ministry wishes to reiterate that the quality of local cement is consistent with international standards. The ministry therefore calls on all importers, distributors and retailers, as well as all other stakeholders to directly contact the factories and take advantage of the opportunities created by the cement value chain to support their business and livelihoods. The ministry also further wishes to inform the public that yesterday the ministry had a meeting with the Cement Importers Association. The cement importers are those who import cement from Senegal, and currently their trucks are stranded at the border. They had a meeting yesterday with the ministry and the minister, and they are meeting today. And the ministry wishes to inform you that they are hopeful that there will be a favorable outcome from that meeting, which they inform the Gambian public either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. But they wish to confirm that the meeting was very successful and there will be a very favorable outcome, favorable to both the Gambian government, the cement importers, and the Gambian population at large. The second press release has to do with the deployment of governors and DPSs. A press release came from the Office of the President through the Office of the Spokesperson that governors have been redeployed as DPSs in certain ministries and DPSs deployed as governors. This is in line with government's commitment to ensure efficiency and service delivery at the decentralized structures. This, it is hoped, that will inject expertise and experience at both directions. That the governors with their experience at the local level dealing with local communities will bring the much needed expertise and experience at the policy making level, but also DPSs with their technical experience will take policy and decision making experience and expertise to the decentralized level, but also in line with government's commitment to ensure gender parity. This also goes to fulfill that commitment. That is why the governors that were redeployed or deployed, 3 of them are women. Now, the other update is from the Office of the President. The President, His Excellency Adam Barrow, commends Gambians and friends of the Gambia on the successful hosting of the 15th OIC Summit in Banjul. His Excellency President Barrow commends and congratulates all Gambians, residents, and our friendly nations for the successful hosting of the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia from the 4th to the 5th of May 2024. The President extends his heartfelt appreciation to the OIC Secretariat, the security institutions, the National Environment Agency, National Disaster Management Agency, municipal councils, and other stakeholders, including the press and the media, for their professionalism, commitment, and outstanding performance before, during, and after the summit. As the chairperson of the OIC for the next 3 years, the President, His Excellency Adam Barrow, reaffirms his commitment to steering the organization in the right direction while projecting the Gambia's global image as a champion of democracy, a beacon of good governance, and respecter and defender of the rule of law. The impressive social and infrastructural developments across the country in preparation for the summit will serve as an enduring legacy of His Excellency's National Urua program. President Barrow therefore extends sincere gratitude to all Gambians for their demonstrated loyalty and tremendous support, reflective of their true sense of patriotism. He urges all Gambians to maintain peaceful coexistence and unity under the one Gambian flag for the continued development of our dear nation, the release ends. The final update has to do with the president's tour. If you have been following the news recently, the president embarked on a nationwide tour where he did two things, or three perhaps. One is to take stock of Gambia's local industries. We all know that there's a global living crisis, inflation. Inflation is a global problem. Now, the only solution to this is to ensure we build our local industries and rely less on importing the goods and the services we need in this country. The president, in his drive to industrialize this nation, took stock of the industries in this country. He visited agro farms to understand the agro value chain, the onion farms, the potato farms, the water bottling farms and drinks bottling farms, and other factories and industries in this country, both in rural and urban Gambia, to understand what they are doing, how they are doing, and also how they can work with government to support them to ensure that we ensure food self-sufficiency. During the tour, the president also inaugurated 5 well-equipped, state-of-the-art health centers in rural Gambia, in Kiang, Jali, in Basse, Tumanda, and Mankamankundan, in Jokadu, and in Badibu, Salikenya. These health care centers are to serve rural communities to ensure they have access to quality and dignified health care, particularly for women and children. State-of-the-art, well-equipped, dignified health care centers to serve rural communities. Also, in line to promote education, because the president believes that education is the bedrock of development, he also inaugurated some very important classrooms and computer labs in rural Gambia. In Koidu, amongst others, in Tumanna, in Numuyel, and other places across the country. The government thanks MRC Holland Foundation for the support and their partnership with government for making this possible. A lot of classrooms were inaugurated in our drive to ensure that education is accessible to every Gambian, no matter where you are born in this country. And this is in line with government's national development plan to ensure that every Gambian has access to quality education, no matter where you are in this country. These are the updates from government, and I thank you all for coming to this very important press conference. I'll hand over to the government spokesperson who will chair the press conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sise, for that lucid explanation of major developments in the past weeks. Without wasting much time, I now call on the Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable Baji, to take us through some major developments taking place within his ministry. I think he'll be covering the renovation works going on at the Independence Stadium, maybe the new coach and related issues. Thank you. Welcome, Minister. Thank you.
Good morning. You didn't have breakfast today. Fortunately, the jailers didn't bring breakfast for the serious and the police. But good morning to the Honorable Minister of Information, Honorable Dr. Ismail Sise, and good morning to the government spokesperson and presidential advisor on diaspora, Mr. Ibrahim Sankare, to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Leimari Jai, and the executive directors and general managers, the deputy permanent secretary, admin and finance, Mr. Kamara, and all of you that are here from both the Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I'm probably the Minister of Tourism, the Minister of Lands, if they're here, and to our friends from the media, the journalists and all the reporters that are present here. Well, we're glad to be invited to this very important press briefing at the invitation of the Minister of Information and by extension the Ministry to give an update on activities that are ongoing at the Ministry of Youth and Sports level. To start with, we all know that the Ministry of Youth and Sports is given the mandate to coordinate all youth and sports related matters of the government, and by so doing we place emphasis on our mission and our goals as a ministry. But more so, our emphasis at the moment is placed on the National Development Program, the NDP, 2023 to 2027. In the recent times, the ministry commissioned and reviewed our legislative framework and policies while effectively and efficiently coordinating youth and sport programs and activities across the country through the ministry itself and sometimes through the satellite institutions whose general managers and directors are present here. To start with, we look at the legislative framework. The Ministry of Youth and Sport, having recognized the fact that in order to be able to do our work better, we need to look at our legal framework, decided to engage a consultant to develop and review certain acts of the ministry, as well as promulgate some bills. Key among them is the revision of the NEDI Act of 2014, the NYSS Act of 2015, as well as two new bills that have been developed, which is the National Youth Act and the National Sports Act. These two acts, if passed, will repeal the National Sport Council Act and the National Youth Council Act. The reason for this is because the name sounds, the two previous acts of 2000 were meant to establish two institutions, the National Youth Council and the National Sport Council. However, it does not give the mandates of those two institutions in terms of their ability to regulate and manage sports or youth matters. The acts have already been developed and are currently at the Ministry of Justice for legal advice before it will be submitted to the Cabinet for adoption and eventually to the National Assembly for passing. Additionally, the Sport Council was operating under a national sport policy of 2010 to 2019. This sport policy expired some 5 years ago or 4 years ago, and we are currently developing a new national sport policy through the support of the Commonwealth Secretariat, who provided technical assistance and hired a consultant from South Africa to develop the Gambia's new national sport policy. And the policy would be from 2014 to, 2024 to 2029. In other areas, the ministry has already handed over certain sports infrastructure, partially completed the Kafuta one, but fully completed the Buyam, Julafar in Kiang, Janjambre in Siarar, and Sandu in Yuara. These facilities were in February of 2024 handed over to the sports committees of these regions, of these districts. All of you might be aware of our recent participation in the AFCON 2023, where Gambia qualified for the second time under this government and under our leadership as people leading the ministry at the moment. And the government invested $200 million to finance the participation of the team. Well, that is the total budget. It doesn't mean that's what we spent. I'm just saying what was given. Currently, the national team is back into the qualifiers for the World Cup with a match that is coming up on the 8th between Gambia and Seychelles and on the 12th between Gambia and Gabon. The state of the stadium does not allow us to play in the Gambia, and so the match between Gambia and Seychelles, which is a home match, is being played in Morocco, and the one with Gabon will be played in Franceville. The government funded these two matches at a total of $22 million. Our other projects include the GSI, which is the agroforestry training program that the ministry conducts in Chamen, North Bank region, where we, in February, graduated 70 young people 42 women and 30 men who were trained on agriculture for a period of 12 months. Upon the graduation of these 72, the ministry recruited another 50 who are currently undergoing the training. And this is a 12-month training, residential for that matter, and the ministry takes care of all the costs relating to their accommodation for 12 months, pays their medical bills, their feeding, and give us a stipend of $1,000 per month. This is meant to empower our young people who are interested in furthering their skills and knowledge on agriculture with the plan to take up agriculture as a career. On the side of the NYSS, the ministry in August of 2023 launched for the first time the National Youth Service Graduate Program with a total number of 100 young people who are university graduates and were not employed. The program was launched here by His Excellency President Adama Barrow, and it is meant to give young people or young graduates the opportunity to undergo a 12-month training or job placement training, and they paid a stipend of $5,000 per month for the period of 12 months. The ministry funds this program with the support or 50% support of the UNDP. This year, we would be graduating a total number of 300 young people. 150 are those who were part of the apprenticeship training program, and another 150 were part of the regular batch. All of these were funded through the by the ministry through NYSS, and they were in different institutions for a period of 2 years to study different skills. And at every time they undergoing this training, the ministry does not just pay the tuition, but also pays their stipend. This year, we will be recruiting 200 young people across the country to undergo the regular program, a recruitment which starts in July, and the training program starts in September for another period of 2 years. NEDI, which is one of the institutions of the ministry, has been engaging different young people and providing capacity building training. Key among them is those who are returnees, or the illegal migration or irregular migration, like some people call it, to train them on different skills, on entrepreneurship, on bookkeeping, and on business management. And upon their completion of their training, NEDI, with the support of IOM, gives those who qualify a certain grant to start up a business or to strengthen their existing business. Through the ministry's support, NEDI will, in the next 1 week, or in the next few days, I might put it that way, will be giving out a total of $1.5 million to young people who have qualified to be giving a grant to initiate, to start their business or to expand their existing businesses. This is supported through the ministry's Youth Entrepreneurship Fund, which is meant to support young people in business who otherwise would not have had the capital to expand their business or to start a new business. No, even if they do, they have to go to the bank to take loans whose conditions they will not be able to meet. The the PIA, the President Award Scheme, which formerly was called the Award Scheme and now called the President International Award, had done in recent times have graduated a number of 1,600 young people across the country who have completed the goal program and have gone through the normal recruitment and the training processes and community volunteer activities and their coursework to be able to qualify for the Gold Award. This year, we would continue to support these young people across all the countries through our school-based program, as well as our skill training center in Bakau. The center currently runs different skills training in tailoring, in carpentry, in mason, in welding, and in fabrication. though this happens at a fee, but it's a very minimal fee that is meant to support young people from needy families. Lastly, we will look at the NSC, which virtually runs a lot of the youth programs, especially in the sports sector. And we all know about the Gambia's recent participation in the African Games in Ghana, where government supported at a budget of $36 million, and were able to take 8 disciplines to participate in the event in Accra. And this is a record number, as the Gambia has not registered any, or has not registered this amount of participants in any international competitions. We are currently preparing the team that qualified for the Olympics, which is taking place in Paris, France, from July 26 to August 12. And the NSC is collaborating with the GNOC, with the Gambian National Olympics Committee, to prepare the team. The ministry has already allocated $7 million to support the participation of the Gambia in the Olympics of 2024. Lastly, we'll look at the stadium. And as you all know, the renovation is ongoing, and we're hoping that the second phase, which is supposed to give us the requirement for CAF, will be completed by the end of July, and we will be able to bring our matches back home. The Gambia government have signed the international coach for the Scorpions about 2 weeks ago, and government, through the GFF, recruited the coach, and will be paying his salary for the next 2 years. The coach is tasked, among other things, to recruit a strong or formidable national team, as well as to provide technical support for the Gambian local coaches, as well as to qualify Gambia for the 2025 World Cup of Nations. These are some of the deliverables that have been agreed between us and the coach, and we hope that as he starts his task with the coming match with Seychelles, he'll be able to deliver those goods. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the updates that we have. Well, maybe let me add that recently also we have supported different associations, and I will just take this opportunity to just go through them. One is the Gambia Handball Association that just returned from Mauritania to participate in the 2024 Zone 2 Championship. The ministry supported the Handball Association with $2 million, and we've also recently, we're giving $1.5 million to the Gambia Paralympic Committee, who would also be participating in the 2024 Paralympics in Paris, which is coming right after the Olympics. The Gambia Judo Association was also supported with $622,500 for the participation in the World Championship Seniors in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, and this is taking place from June 19 to 24. A group of young people also recently returned from Ghana who participated in the 2024 Yali cohort, and the ministry is supported with $195,000. And our Gambia male volleyball team would be participating in the Olympics qualifiers, as well as the World Pro Tour in China from June 6 to 8, as well as June 18 to 24th. And the ministry supported with a cash amount of $1,752,300. So these are some of the recent supports that we gave to different associations and different sporting disciplines, as we all work towards ensuring that sport is supported in the country as well as Europe. So, Doctor, these are some of the updates we would want to share. with the public. If there are questions, I guess. I don't know what the format is going to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for those updates. If you have questions for the ministers, I would suggest, since Honorable Baji will be leaving us shortly, that we begin with him. And after he exits, then Honorable Cisse can begin to take questions. So we will entertain maybe four questions, and then yes, you raise your hand, you identify yourself and the media that you represent, or the medium that you represent, and then you'll be asked to pose a question, and then you give chance to others to also come with their questions. Yes, so, yes, sir. Huh? You have something? Yeah, absolutely, yeah, so.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Yahya Jammeh. Very much appreciate this press briefing, and also want to take the opportunity to thank the government for the recent Mansakunda initiative. I really appreciate it. So my question is regarding the NEDI initiative, where you highlighted that about over $1 million will be given shortly to businesses. It would be to young businesses. It would be very useful to know how many young businesses are targeted, since you say it's about in a week's time that they might receive this. How many young businesses will this be supported? And if I could ask another question, sir? One more question?
Let me handle that first, and then we see. How many people have questions? Because if it's not the time, because he has another appointment, so, yeah.
Okay. All right. So there is a process when it comes to the NEDI grant and the loan. The grant is administered at our level at NEDI, and there is an application that young people who have gone through the training, because one must have completed the 5 days training, all these trainings that NEDI is doing, and at the last day they can apply, and they have a shortlist committee that looks at the numbers and shortlist. So currently, I mean, as usual, you would have more than 100 people that will apply, higher than that. But based on funding, we are giving 23 young people. The NEDI general manager is here. Okay, said 29. You have a date yet? Okay, so next Tuesday. So 29 young people out of the lot that applied. But that this is for this year. Last year we gave a similar number, and the 2021, 33 for last year. So every year we do these presentations, and like I said, it's a startup. But then there is the loan scheme, which because of fiduciary responsibilities, we are working with SDF. It's our fund, but managed at SDF. And if you do well with the grant, and then after a year or two, you can then qualify to apply for the loan, which is you're supposed to pay through the SDF with a 6% interest. So, yeah, but for this year it's 23.
Thank you very much. Identify yourself and the institution that you represent.
In Gambia, you said it's supported to a lot of millions, like national TV. Recently, it's over 200 million. So, you know, since it's taxpayers' money, people have been asking for audit. They have been directing it at the GFF. So now that you have actually told us how much is invested in it, would there be audit, and there are accountability in terms of how the money is spent? And secondly, how much is the government supposed to pay?
Okay, so like I said, you all that followed, let me say, some of you that followed AFCON knew the budget for AFCON was submitted by the Federation was $388 million. That was in anticipation that when we get into AFCON, we will go all the way to the finals. essentially we didn't raise that. What we raised is what government gave is the 200 million. We raised a little bit from the private sector. Altogether, there was a total amount of $211 million that was raised. And I said when I made this remark that doesn't mean that what was spent. What was spent at the end was, and maybe don't quote me on this one because I don't have the exact figure here, but I know it was about 109 million, 110 million. That was what was spent. Now, government regulations, if you give you money, you don't spend it, you return it. And we've done that through finance and reporting. The report will come from the committee, but the audit is something different. Audit don't happen 2-3 months after an event. It takes a period before it happens, and I'm sure when the audit is done, the report will be shared as expected. But on the NCC part, they have got the report, and they would do the press briefing to report on those expenditures. The coach salary. No, the Gambian culture is we don't disclose his salary, right? You don't disclose our salary. Government is paying. The Ministry of Youth and Sports is paying the coach salary. But those are contractual issues, and we are not at liberty to say it here.
Good morning.
Morning.
Honorable Minister, and my name is Yahya Jammeh. I represent the Informal Association. Please, with information from the Ministry of Information and the Speaker, and yourself, the spokesperson, and yourself, the Minister, you have mentioned a lot about education in all your speeches, and the agricultural fund, stipend, and the NYSS stipend as well. These results or reports with education, is there a way the ministry involves all this through the primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, so that this lifelong skill for life that you have introduced to this after school graduate or non-graduate, is there a way that you can track them through the nursery, primary, tertiary, and then the university until their NYSS period? Thank you.
I'm not sure what the question is, but no, it's fine. Let me just try to answer it from what I understand. Yes, we do. We do tracer studies. So, for instance, those that graduated from the GSI in the previous years, we've done a tracer study to understand where they are. You know, if they are employed, if they have opened their own businesses, and yes, we have that report. Now, NYSS, there was a tracer study that was done. I was not minister then, but there was a tracer study that was done previously to know where these young people are. But of course, yes, we understand that some of them that graduate would get employed. Some of them would open their own businesses, but there are some of them that would probably flop back to what they were doing. You know, so those are the things. But we have a higher success rate than otherwise, and the figures are there. Some of them are employed by WHO, others are employed by private firms, and others have gone on to open their own workplaces, and they're doing well.
Okay. Any other questions? Follow up.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Yahya. I'm reporter. Considering the improvement made on the stadium, many of us are focused on the stadium, but forgetting that there are many stadiums. So I want the minister to update us on the works that have been done on the mini stadiums, because going through the mini stadiums, we can see that they are horrible. So please, can you update us?
Which ones?
Manya, $7, Bari.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's what let's say this. You see, there is always this misunderstanding about who owns what and who is responsible for what. Everywhere you go in the world, municipal councils are the ones who are responsible for the management of municipal sport infrastructure in general. In fact, they are the ones responsible for the construction of municipal sport infrastructure. A government is responsible for construction of national infrastructure. Now here, and that is now your responsibility to go there and task the leaders, the local leaders, to ask them what are they doing to support sports in the regions or in the municipalities. Because these ones that you just mentioned, they are not under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. These are structures that belong to the councils. And the previous years, previous decades, the municipal council constructed it. Because KMC then, in the early 2000s, constructed Serekunda West, Serekunda East, Manjai, and Bakau. So the upkeep and all of that is not a ministry responsibility. In fact, we have no role whatsoever in the management of those the ones you just mentioned. However, understanding the challenges, that is why government, as a central government, comes to the local level to construct these fields. And that's why we did one in Buyam, we did one in Kafuta, we did one in Janjambure, we did one in Sandu, just to ensure that young people in this region have something that they can use. I think that answers the question. Yes, so in Kiang Mandua. That's why we did one in Kiang Mandua. All right? And currently we are doing one right here in Kiang at Mboyo Field, which is at Bakote, which is going to be not just a football field, but a standard mini stadium that has a football pitch with grass, it has a pavilion, it has a basketball, volleyball, and handball lawn. And it's going to come with lights and everything that one needs. And that is right here in Bakote. Thank you, Honorable, for that reminder.
The Honorable Minister is willing to take 3 more questions. If you don't have first question here, we're going to have a follow-up. No other question? Yes, you can have a follow-up.
Thank you so much for being very magnanimous.
No, there is a reason why I'm here. No, hold on. There is a reason why I'm here. Is to organize and coordinate. And if you are chairing a program, you are responsible for the program. So I know the information officer is your friend, but I coordinate and I take that. Okay? So we have to be very careful. That's why we fight every day. You don't ask me questions when your colleagues have a question pending. So you can worry.
That's why I'm thanking you. So so my question is regarding the stadium. Yes, we have many questions. We have even more, but we will just, these ones are okay for now. Honorable Minister, you've spoken about the stadium, and now we are looking at sometime in July, right? It will be almost 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what has caused this delay that is taking so long? It's almost 2 years now. That's the first part. And then secondly, can you reassure us that this time July for sure will be July for sure? Over 100 million was spent at one point. We don't even know how much was spent. Maybe you can throw that in there and tell us how much has been spent in the stadium so far, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, okay, let me say this about the timing. When we speak as ministers, we are speaking based on technical information that is given to us. Because you all know that we don't get on the ground and do the job. But there is a committee, there's a technical committee responsible for stadium in general. There is a ministry responsible for the supervision of the work, and that is the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure. The Ministry of Youth and Sport is more and more of a beneficiary because we are not doing the estimates, we are not supervising the work, we are not providing the money. So we are right there in the middle. Ministry of Works tells us that this is how much you need to do what you want to do. And we take that to the sports committee, the sports cabinet subcommittee on youth and sports. It gets to cabinet approves, and the Ministry of Finance then looks for the money and gives us. We only operate when we are given the funds. If we are not given the funds, we cannot move. So I want that to be clear. Secondly, the timelines. This is what the Minister of Work said, you need 6 months to be able to do the job. The contractors will bid, and they're giving a contract based on that arrangement. However, if you delay your payment, they add the months that you have delayed the payment to the end of the contract. Sometimes also they receive the money, but they order these things, materials from China, from Turkey, shipments and other things get delayed. These are the reasons why contracts get delayed. So whenever I say 6 months, I am speaking based on what is on the paper. But everybody who works in construction in general terms, even I'm sure if you're building your house, the contractor will tell you we can do it in 6 months and they end up doing it in 1 year. So these are the things. But by and large, the delays were primarily based on one, not accessing the funds on time. Secondly, the delays in the shipment by the contractors. And anytime they delay, they let us know, and then they'll have an extension to the contract. There was a gap in the first 6 months and what we're doing now, and that was because the president himself said it when he went to the stadium. These are things that were never budgeted for. And so if you tell government that you need to give 100 million when there was no 100 million in the budget, and you already gone past your budget, it has gone to the National Assembly approved, and now something comes up that was never anticipated, you have to go around to look for the funds. And this was the reason why the work was delayed. But eventually we were able to start, and now we are assured that all the funds are in, at least for the second phase, and the contractors, and that's why I said, on paper, we expected that the work will finish by the end of August. And we don't anticipate any delay, because as of yesterday, they were within schedule. Sorry, end of July. Yes, end of July. Now, total amount. The first job, the first phase, was about $153 million. And the second part, so total, we spent, or about, will be spending $283 million for the renovation of both the first phase and the second phase. And let me add that there is supposed to be a third phase, which is supposed to be the tracks and the floodlights. And those are taken out from the job because the cost estimate we receive is too huge and we cannot carry all of this at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so I was advised by the government spokesperson and advisor to President about the NEDI, that it would be important to say what NEDI means. It's National Enterprise Development Initiative. And sometimes somebody would ask, is NEDI part of the ministry? Yes, it is an institution under the ministry, just like how we have the award scheme, or PIA, NYSS, NYC, and NSC, and of course stadium.
I'm sorry. You have a follow-up?
Follow-up on my question.
Okay.
On the education of
You have a question?
Yes, no, I was just going to check that. I'm sure everyone can hear the voice.
Right now, a sports journalist posted that on Coffee Time, there is allegation of sexual abuse at the Gambia Football Federation. I was just checking. I don't know if the minister is aware of this. Have you been briefed about it? It's a breaking news that just came in by one Sonko, a sports journalist.
Sexual harassment at the gender flags in the gender office.
Allegations of sexual abuse at the Gambia Football Federation.
No, I'm not aware of it. I've not been told about it. But yes, so, I mean, when we are told about it, when we get the information, we will do the right thing. But for now, we've not been told about it. Of course, there is definitely zero tolerance for sexual abuse in the sports sector in general terms. In every sector, yes. Yes.
So one more question for the minister, because he has to leave.
Can I do the follow-up?
Yeah, you can do that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and be very brief, please.
All right, please. I mentioned before, like I said, this national enterprise development.
Are they instituted in the local regions? I come from Tujoren, and we don't have any kind of all these things you have been saying. We don't receive any deliverables and all that. We institute and create our own everything, kind of. And if you know very well, the Ball Association has done this. And of course, we have been favored by the government and private institutions and funders. But for us, we are very well okay. I will say this, because if you know the foundation of where we come from. What about other villages that does not have access to the ministries and all that? Right now we are here, very nice. And what about people from other places? How can they be part of everything that we are getting? We are getting this truly. How can we shift it over to other local places like Tujoren and the villages around? Thank you.
No, there is an office, Navy office, which is located in Carnifin, just behind the Red Cross headquarters, and primarily it was operating from there. But this is an institution of the ministry, like I said, and the ministry is present in every region. If you go to the governor's office in West Coast and in all the regions, the ministry has an office and permanent staff, a sports coordinator, a youth coordinator, and assistant. And these individuals operate on behalf of the ministry as well as the institutions under the ministry. And recently, in February, we opened 2 offices for NEDI, one in Soma and another one in Basse. And these are the offices that are supposed to cover the provincial areas. So we cannot be in every village, but at least we are in the headquarters of the region. Like for instance, in West Coast, we're in Brikama, and you can always access our services through the governor's office. Yes, and also there's district youth committees. So the committees are for sport and for youth. And if you cannot get to Brikama, for instance, you can get in touch with the chairperson of the youth committee or the chairperson of the sport committee of your district, and they can be able to link you with this institute. And of course, when we do trainings, these young people come from all over the country. Because when you look at, for instance, one aspect of our training is the migration aspect. Those young people who try to embark on this irregular migration, they are all over the country. And when we train them, we are not looking at where they come. Of course, we will always consider gender and the regional dimension, but the village is not the issue, and they come all over the place. And then also when they apply for the loan, there is that consideration. Just like NYSS, there is a number that is given per region. So if you say we are recruiting 200, you know that, for instance, West Coast is a bigger region, they have a higher number. And then KM and LRR and Sierra, that's how it happens. So there is a decentralization of our programs. So you did it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, I guess that will be the last thing. I wish I can stay with you, but I have a meeting at 1 o'clock. So thank you so much, guys. Well, good.
Nice. How about you? Training for me. Everybody's excited to see you.
I think you guys can come forward. I think you can come forward.
Now you guys can
come forward.
Guys, standing there.
Come forward. Those who have to get a seat. It will be a long one. Be seated, please.
Thank you.
Well, hey, lady, your phone has... Can you come and fix it?
The lawyer, sit down. You have a seat.
See whether it works. You just left a minute.
Okay, can you stand there? We will stand there.
Apa dia firik? Kalau mungkin nanti kola. Shall we start now or restart? We recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister of Lands, the Honorable Ahmad Ngagne Kubaba, who is assisted by his permanent secretary, my sister, Madam Safi Sankare. We have a bunch of senior government officials here, Deputy Permanent Secretary Tal, directors, PPS Manyang, Director of Information Services, Madam Aisa Davis, and Ibrahim Anjay, Deputy Director, Ministry of Information. If I have not mentioned your name, it's not intentional. Maybe I have not just recognized, I don't know the portfolio, but then senior government officials present, members of the press corps, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with this press conference. We began with the Honorable Minister of Youth, but because he had prior engagements, he had to leave earlier, having delivered a brief speech and answered a few questions from the press corps. So we would now invite the Honorable Minister of Lands to deliver a statement, and thereafter, when he finishes his speech, him and the Minister of Information will take questions. All right, Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
Uncle, it seems as the room is very hot. The AC seems to be off. Are they saving cost, or we haven't paid for it? Why? Why are we disconnected from the AC? Good afternoon, Honorable Minister of Information. And good afternoon, Government Spokesperson for the Government of the Gambia, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Local Government, Regional Administration and Religious Affairs, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Directors, Senior Government Officials, and Deputy Spokesperson. And of course, senior officials of the media, reporters, and all other protocols respectfully observed. Today will be my fourth encounter with the press since I took over as Minister of Lands, Local Government, Regional Administration, and Religious Affairs. And so I had wanted to do this earlier, but because of a lot of other issues that compounded, make it difficult for me to do that, because people were expecting me at least to speak out. And I think it's time that we speak out, and it's time that we put the Gambians in the picture of what we have seen and what we have done the last 1.5 months or so. Could be 2 months now, almost close to that. I started around the 28th, and that was in March, April, May, so 2 months since I've been there. And then there are 2 issues here. I'll be doing a lot of reading. I love talking more than reading when it comes to public appearances. Privately, I read a lot, and I love reading. The reason why I have to read, these are recommendations coming out of an inquiry, investigation, and it is important that you capture them accurately for record purposes. And therefore, I'll be reading that statement. You're all aware there was an ongoing investigation about the issue of Kamalo, an area around the Sting Corner that was declared as an industrial zone. And there was a lot of outcry of wrongdoings that led to the president taking a decision in the supreme interest of the Gambian people to get to the bottom of what transpired and what happened at that particular site. Serving public interest, you're always dictated by public concern. And as a result, the president directed that a committee be constituted to investigate and report back so that we can take decisions in the future to avoid that happening. And those decisions I am going to communicate to you as soon as I finish reading this statement. Now, the public raised concerns about Martin Haldington regarding the allocations around that end. And we will also tell you what the ministry is doing and intend to do collectively together in order to close the gaps and avoid some of the wrongdoings and the mistakes and some of the practices of the past. And this, I will just set the background for you to understand where we are coming from and where we hope to be together as a country. The Gambia is among the 5th most densely populated countries in Africa. Most of those countries, with the exception of maybe Mauritius, few of them have gone into conflict of land and problems, civil war and the rest of it. And you must take into account too, the Gambia, in 30 years from now, this population would have doubled up. And again, we must understand, land does not expand, it contracts. Once you give it away, it's gone, it never comes back. And again, you must also understand that it's one of the most important commodity in or asset for any country anywhere in the world. And that all the countries that have taken off on development have instituted strong land policy, strong, transparent land policies, including the United States. All the countries that have moved on quick development have managed their land well. So we are at a crucial stage now as a country. We either do it now, hard facts, move with vigor, decisiveness, courage, get it done for our children and our grandchildren, or we fail woefully and subject our country to chaos. Today, the United Nations, the World Bank, the UN, rather, ECOWAS, AU, all these countries, their prediction on Gambia's next crisis will be on land. Our next crisis will not be politics if we don't manage our land. The fight will start and our country will be in trouble if we don't manage our land. Because the way it is being used, the way it is being managed, we all agree, the whole world, not only us, that it is not properly managed, not properly utilized. Therefore, we must take the bitter pill. It's not going to be an easy job. It's not going to be an easy task to address it. It will be a hard one. And I remembered Obasanjo telling me in 2000, we were in the villa having dinner. He said, Honorable Ba, when he was forming the AFCC, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, he said, when you fight corruption, corruption fights you back. When you are fighting it, graft, they fight you back. So when you are involved in that fight, you must be determined. Don't look back. Make sure you look forward. And he was managing the biggest country in Africa, with the biggest economy. That's why when we started the fight at the Ministry of Tourism, it wasn't easy. They even have to sponsor people to write a petition to the National Assembly. Some of them calling me now, we want to come and tell you why we wrote a petition, who told us to write, but I say I'm not interested. What I do know was, I was fighting to correct a system that was not acceptable, and I know the victims would always try to fight back. This one also will be a hard one, but we are determined. We are trusted and entrusted with a responsibility, we'll never waver on it. We will do it together, collectively, all of us together. Gambians, everybody for that matter. I cannot do it alone. So we must be determined to move forward to save our children. 20 years ago, I had a friend who was working at the BICI Bank. I don't want to mention his name. He carried his son They were going through Abuko. Small boy of at least 4 years, down about 5 years. The boy asked him, Daddy, by the time we grow, people will not finish this land. Don't you think you will finish our land? Where do you expect us to live? Small boy, huh? The next day, I was chatting with this banker. He told me this story. This is, 20 years ago. That boy, he is now grown up. Just to tell you, if children of that age at that time can think about what to do, how to live with the land, the way land is managed, I saw no reason why we should not wake up and make sure that we take ownership of what belongs to us, than having few people with a clique, with power, with money, owning every bit of our life. And that's what necessitated the following that I'm coming to tell you. That's why the investigation, the recommendation, I will implement them 100%. Number two, I'll give you an update of exactly what we plan to do, so that everybody, every Gambian would know what's happening. This report cannot become under the carpet, cannot be kept under the carpet. No, never. The public was informed, there is an inquiry. When it is completed, the public need to know what's the outcome of that inquiry, right or wrong. It's our interest to make sure that, and our responsibility to inform the public the outcome of that investigation. You will allow me time to read it. Don't ask me a copy, record what I'm saying, so that when you go, you can transcribe it, because we don't come with enough copies today. But subsequently, we can provide you copies as soon as we get to the office. You know that we're extremely busy. We're extremely busy. We are going through a lot of transformation. The issue of governors, a lot of things that we are transforming. So we cannot even have a space to have a tea, much more lunch at office, and we work very late. So it's not been an easy task, but we are up to the task. We believe that everybody here, because you are looking forward for us to do that. There is this very prominent journalist in this country I was talking to a few days ago. I said, I'm losing a lot of friends because of my position and decision on things that I'm doing. He said, don't mind them. They are the bad friends. The good friends will stick to you. Do your job. I said, is it so? He said, yes. I went to bed. I thought of what this guy told me. I said, he is absolutely right. I will lose friends, but I think these are the bad friends who do not want to see you do the right thing. So it doesn't matter. So if anybody is affected, so be it. I mean, that's what our country needs. And let me tell you that. There are thousands of Ahmad Bas who can do more than what I'm doing. And they are ready to do it. Ahmad Bas goes, somebody will come and do a better. There is no going back on what we have said ourselves for now in the issue of land management and land usage in this country. There is no going back to it. Nobody. Nobody can change it. Because that's the supreme will of the Gambian people. I just gave you that background so that you will know exactly where we are heading to and what we are doing. And I'm willing to answer questions as much as possible. Government spokesperson and chairman of this meeting, and the Honorable Minister of Information. Honorable Minister, I congratulate you warmly. You have started a job, a task that we need in this country and in this government. We have done so much which is not known. We have done so much which is not exposed. Of course, some few media houses have been trying their very best to portray the things that we are doing. When we are wrong, tell us we are wrong. But when we do good, please tell the good, let people know. That's how you get respected. That you should be balancing your reporting, and that you should be able to speak out. And also, you have to share respect with people. Being a journalist, having a microphone and a pen doesn't make you super extraordinary. It makes you servant of the people, serving the people in the best of manner, with all the respect and dignity those people deserve. And I think once you know the danger of this pen, what this pen can cause, it can cause the death of millions of people in Rwanda. Once you know that microphone you're using, how much it can destroy a society and a country, you should be able to always put at the back of my mind that you have a civic responsibility and a national duty to do right to every manner of people during the course of your work. And I pray that this country will develop a strong media that will certainly live to the expectation of the Gambian people. Let me give you a short story with my encounter, my great friend, late Deda Haider. He was my good friend. Everybody knows Deda was my friend. But we are friends that speak the truth to each other, as I always do with my friends. When they started the Gambia Press Union, they were looking for money for IFIS and other things. I don't need to tell you what I've done with that in Washington. That's history. It was my role. I played my part. And he was the president then of the Gambia Press Union. We sat at his office chatting. I offended Deda so badly. For 1 week, he was putting me on every editorial, hitting me. But when he writes the editorial, when I read it, I call and laugh. Because that's a professional. And he was hitting me professionally. I mean, and we chat in the evening. After hitting me, we chat in the evening. You know what I told him? I said, Deda, some of your journalists are not journalists, they are joining the list. They need to go and learn how to do journalism. I think Deda felt I've given him the biggest insult in life. So we later on came to understand the issue. He was angry, but later on I think he realized that training is very important in this sector. And Mr. Minister, we spoke yesterday, and I told you that they need the resources to be trained. The media houses don't have money in the Gambia. They are poorly paid. People in the Gambia here don't pay for advertisement. And let me tell you the unfortunate thing in this country. The President Barrow never wanted. And I will tell you today, you cannot own a television, you cannot own a huge GSM company, and you own a TV and own a radio. How will the media get money? How will the media get money to pay for advertisement? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what obtained in other countries. And then you own a radio station too. And you are the one supposed to be paying the millions to the media houses for them to build capacity, grow, and make money. Cabinet took the decision not to issue license to the GSM companies. Let them be, so that the advertisement industry will grow and make money, the media will make money. I'll tell you a story today, and I think you can quote me for it. Cabinet took the decision. Then Yahya was minister as a journalist, senior journalist. He was a minister. He's listening to me. When we came back to cabinet, I asked the question. He said, we have already issued license. Even though we have asked them not to issue license. Today you are victims of that decision. You are victims of that decision, these media houses, because will QCell come to pay for advertisement to you? No, they have a TV. They have a radio. Africell have a radio. Everybody will start. Where will you get money? And DA is from your own industry. Let him listen to me. I'm saying this. He's hearing me. Barrow, his government have said, don't give license to GSM companies, because then the elite media industry would not make money that they are supposed to make. Let him respond. He is listening to me. He's our biggest critics. But I'll tell you, that he did not help. He did not do much to help the media to make money. And you need this money to train your people. You need this money to upgrade your facilities. You need this money to do a better job. Let him respond. I'm saying this clearly. I was in cabinet sitting down there. Yes. So I told the minister it is important that really government to get resources to help the media houses to train their personnel. Because that training component will make a difference in the quality and how our media operates in this country. Other countries have done it. And why can't we do it here in the Gambia? Work with the Gambia Press Union, work with media houses, how we can generate revenue, how we can support them to train their people to become more professionals so that the service delivery will be important. So on that note, I stand to support you at every level in making sure that we do that. And that's why the president directed me a few weeks ago to make sure that the media houses, some of them, are given land because they are paying too much of rent from where they are operating. And I've already directed a unit within the Ministry of Lands to handle that process, to make sure that we provide land for these media houses to reduce their cost of rent annually. And I am going to implement that request the president forwarded to me. I will do it, inshallah. Now let me start. The preamble, just for a minute. Listen to me, please. Put your tape recorder on. In the third quarter of 2023, a multi-sectoral task force was formed to review the allocation of demarcated plots of land at Kamalo Industrial Layout. The task force was to conduct a comprehensive review exercise to thoroughly examine the allocation processes. This process was triggered by the public outcry that multiple and inappropriate allocations were made. This led to the creation of the multiple stakeholder review. The multi-sectorial task force comprised of the following institutions: Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, Ministry of Trade and Industry and Employment, Ministry of Justice, National Audit Office, Gambia Police Force, Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, State Intelligence Services, National Physical Planning Board. These were the people involved in the investigation of what we call the public outcry of the manner in which plots were given at Kamalo Layout. Background. During the assignment, the task force had to review the relevant laws, policies, and regulations governing land administration and management in the Gambia. These laws and policies played a vital role in regulating land allocation, development, environmental conservation, and sustainable growth. The task force also conducted a series of interviews with allottees and made several visits to the demarcated Kamalo Industrial Layout for proper verification. During the review, the task force was made aware of the existence of a development plan alongside a sketch plan to be emanated from the development plan detailing the layout design. The sketch plan was made of two phases: Kamalo Industrial Layout proper, Kamalo Industrial Layout extension. Preparation and design. It was revealed that the growing demand for industrial land had led important to note that the number of demarcated plots is 68, and some allottees have been allotted more than one plot. Also, among the 47 Gambians included naturalized individuals. Detailed findings. The task force noticed that the lack of national land policy has led to the lack of clarity of the mandate of various stakeholders in the land administration process, but also indicated lack of direction in the sector. The task force has limitation during the review as the master plan Kamalo file was missing and several attempts were made to retrieve the file but unsuccessfully. Let me make that clear. The file of Kamalo still disappeared. We don't know where it is. Still lost. I've looked everywhere. Nobody can see the file. For your information, it's gone. The file contains information and correspondences between ministry and relevant stakeholders leading to the establishment of Kamalo as an industrial layout. The information in this file would have given the task force the opportunity to understand how both Kamalo proper and extension was initiated and subsequently approved. Policy and legislative framework for preservation of the environment. Adhering to the laws would ensure that the allocation and development of Kamalo industrial layout are conducted in a legal manner. Looking into the policy and legislative framework for the preservation of the environment, the government of the Gambia designated Tambi Wetland National Park as a protected area among few other sites in the Gambia. The decision is anchored on several national policies. One, the famous Banjul Declaration of Sir Dawda Jawara in 1977. Two, the Gambia Environmental Action Plan of 1992. Three, the National Biodiversity Action Strategy Action Plan 1999. And the Vision 2020. Declaration of Tambi as Ram site, part of the convention. The Gambia ratified the Ramsar Convention on Wetland in 1996. The Tambi Wetland National Park was established in 2001, and this covers sites encompassing Banjul, Kanifing, Birkama. The wetland captured incoming water and rainfalls, thus playing an important role in the shoreline stabilization and flood control, thereby acting as a hydrological buffer zone, reservoir, or lakes. Kamalo is one of the few elevations within the Tambi wetland, with a significant potential for the growth of aquatic life. The marine reptiles living in the water relied on the elevation for their breeding and resting. The forested nature of the site enables it as a habitat of other wild animals and birds, also migrated species that frequent the Gambia during certain period in a year. Therefore, the transformation of the site to accommodate industrial activity has serious ramifications for the wildlife and aquatic creatures. No evidence of environmental impact assessment. The task force noted that an EAI process was never initiated by the proponent, the above mentioned department, that's the physical planning, their parent ministry, or no completed, that's the Ministry of Environment, no completed before lands were allocated and developed, work started. That means in any development, that any land, anywhere you are giving, environmental impact assessment must be provided. It's by requirement of law. In this case, it was not done. It was never done. At this point, it will be a guesswork to know the full extent of environmental and social impact to be occasioned by the ongoing development. If an ESIA was done, it would have given such information. However, one can safely say the following are possibilities: increased encroachment and land conversion into the wetland, pollution through waste dumping and spilling into the wetlands, increased mangrove dieback due to human-induced activities, ministerial approval without following due process. Section 13(2) of the State Land Act, the planning authorities shall advise whether or not the proposed application form conforms with the approved plan and establish planning standards. Section 14 of the State Land Act for the states, the department shall, if advised that the proposed application conforms with the approved plan and establish planning standard, submit the application to the minister for approval. For those seeking industrial land allocation, the application process necessitates the submission of several documents. These include completed application form, a proposed business plan, proof of funding, typically in the form of a bank statement, the proposed building design, business registration details, and clearance from the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA. During the review exercise, the task force noted that 28 allottees were issued with allocation letters at Kamalo Extension without any evidence of approval minuted in their files. Allocation without evidence of ministerial approval. Section 14 of the State Land Act for the state, department shall, if advised that the proposed allocation conform with the approved plan and establish planning standards, submit the application to the minister for approval. The task force noted with concern that 6 allottees were given with allocation letters without any evidence of ministerial approval minuted in the file by the minister, contrary to the above section of the State Land Act. We noted that these business entities were allocated in some instances more than one plot. Allocation to ineligible applicants. During the review, it was noted that some allottees were allocated plot of land at Kamalo proper with no evidence of business registration certificate. Also, no evidence of application fee of 50,000 paid, contrary to the dictates of the Act. Allocation of more than one plot to an allottee. It was noted that more than one plot was allocated to certain companies. However, the justification for allocating more than one plot was not provided for review. For example, there was an instance where applicants whose proposed for applying was for a warehouse were given 2 plots, while those who planned to do production were given only 1 plot, casting doubt about the criteria used to determine these allocations. Summary of allocation abnormality. In summary, the task force discovered a lot of abnormalities in the allocation process of Kamalo industrial layout, and these are as follows. Ministers' approval without following. Minister approving without following due process. Allocation without evidence of minister's approval. Allocation to ineligible applicants. Allocation of more than one plot to an allottee. Unpresented application files. Missing documents from applicant's file. The lack of evidence of the environmental impact assessment. Recommendation now. We come to the recommendation after all this, what the committee have recommended. It says, the Ministry of Land, Regional Government, Religious Affairs should ensure that the strategic documents such as the National Land Policy is developed, implemented, and monitored. The document should clearly outline the country's agenda, pertaining to land and the roles and responsibility of the authorities involved in land administration. I'll come to that on the second part of my reading. Number 2 recommendation. The ministry should endeavor to have a proper filing system in place, and efforts should be made to ensure that the missing Kamalo file is produced, where we will get more evidence of some of the wrongdoings and concerns of the investigative committee. We are looking for the file. I don't know whether it has been turned to ash or is still alive somewhere. We'll try to get it. 3, the decision to make Kamalo an industrial layout should be reconsidered, as it poses serious adverse environmental challenges, as most of the investors are projected to build heavy industries on the site. 4, the above can, however, be validated through a comprehensive environment audit in accordance with Regulation 30 of the cited EAI regulation. It is advisable for the NEA to perform comprehensive general and specific environmental impact assessment at the Kamalo site to determine any existing or potential damage. This assessment will serve as crucial information for making informed decisions on a broad scale. 5, the task force recommends that the entire allocation at Kamalo extension be revoked, simply because all the 28 allocation did not follow due process. In accordance, there is no development on the site. 6, there was no evidence provided to the committee that environmental impact assessment was conducted either by the ministry or the allottees before allocation was done. Therefore, the opportunities associated with such an important assessment was lost due to the ministry's failure for not complying with its relevant laws. 7, the task force recommended that those allocations without evidence of ministerial approval be revoked. The Department of Land Survey, under the leadership of the former Director of Lands, did not follow the due process by allocating without any evidence of ministerial approval in funds. 8, in the absence of a business registration certificate and receipt of payment application fee, the said allottees should not have been considered for allocation. As consequence, the committee recommends that their allocation should be revoked based on the following or the foregoing. It is evident that the Department of Lands and Survey, under the leadership of former director, did not properly scrutinize the submission of the applicants before allocation. Number 9, the task force recommends establishing clear criteria policy for allocating multiple plots to an individual in the future. This criteria will serve as a transparent and accountable yardstick to determine qualification and enhance the allocation process to be fair and just. In the absence of a clear criteria, they should forfeit the other plots to the state. Number 10, the task force recommends establishing clear criteria policy for allocating multiple plots to individuals in future. This criteria will serve as a transparent, accountable yardstick to determine qualification and enhance allocation process to be fair and just. In the absence of a clear criteria, they should forfeit the other plots to the state. Number 11, in the case of one physical planning staff, I don't want to mention his name, no ministerial approval was made. Well, in the case of one individual, for his allocation, I don't want to mention his name, no ministerial approval was obtained, and the task force was unable to ascertain how he received a photocopied allocation letter. Consequently, the task force recommends that any allocation lacking ministerial approval be deemed to be invalid and revoked. Number 12, additionally, the task force further recommends initiating administrative sanctions against particular staff at the Department of Physical Planning who presented a photocopy of allocation letter to the applicant and devised preventive measures for similar incidents in the future. 13, the task force recommend that allocation, that was a particular company, to be revoked. In fact, this person came to surrender his property even before investigation was complete. It further recommends that the Director of Lands should be held liable for recommending the applicant by ignoring the professional advice of a senior officer at the Physical Planning and Housing. Number 14, by submitting personal bank statement instead of a company's bank statement, raises doubts about the liquidity of the company at the time, and as such, the application did not meet the requirement to be allocated plot, and as a result, it should be revoked. In conclusion, number 15, the ministry hereby accept, let me just tell you, listen to me. The ministry, the minister, hereby accept the recommendation from the multiple stakeholders task force and pledge to implement the recommendation in line with due process in accordance with all the laws. Therefore, it is conclusive. In fact, the entire plots of the extension will be nullified, will be cancelled, and all orders that are fall short of the recommendation here will be revoked as recommended by the task force. And we'll set up a committee to make sure that these recommendations are fully implemented to the letter. And I'll be part of that committee myself. I'll be part of that committee myself to make sure that the recommendations here are implemented to the letter. Now, coming back on the second phase, just quickly, because time is running against us, but just allow me just to read this one, and that will give you a comprehensive idea of where we are heading to, where we need everybody on board. Because there has been some shortcomings, the lack of policy, lack of strategy, we felt that you cannot run a huge ministry like this without a policy. Since independence, Ministry of Lands have never had a policy. I wonder how you can manage a ministry or institution without a policy. You know why? The policy dictates the strategy. That's why when I was the Minister of Tourism, the first thing I did was to develop the cultural policy, which became operational by 2018, 2019. And I developed the tourism policy. Because when you have a policy, there will be no strategy. You will just be walking at all. You have no sense of direction. How can you have the most important commodity in our country with no policy since independence from subsequent governments? Where are you leading us to? You are leading us to chaos. No doubt the UN and the World Bank believe our next crisis in the Gambia will be on land issue, because there is no sense of direction. Now, this ministry, challenges and importance of land. The Gambia is among the least developed countries in the world, ranked 175 out of 189 countries, according to UN Human Development Report 2022. The recent household poverty survey shows that 54% of population are below the poverty line, and poverty highest in the rural areas. The Gambia is considered one of the most highly densely populated countries in mainland Africa, with a population density of 245.5 people per square kilometer and a total land area of about 11,000 square miles. With a population growth rate of 3.1% per annum, the population will in 21 years. 30 years is the most statistic that I believe, from all the indication, will double up. It has one of the fastest urbanization rates in sub-Saharan Africa, accounting for almost 58% of the country's total population. That we hope that the provision of electricity and water, what this government is doing, and road network will reverse that. We cannot all live in the combos. It has made the combos very expensive. Once we have the Bara Banjul Bridge, I can live in my village and drive to work every day. Because we've seen people in Europe driving 200-300 kilometers to come to work. I am more comfortable living in my village, coming to work and going back, than really living in the combos with all the hustle and bustle. So this government have not lost focus of that, making so that we provide the amenities of country, and people will definitely, some of them will go back and decentralize some of these industries. People will go back to live in their villages. You cannot develop one side of the Gambia and leave the rest. So we hope this government will succeed in that, because we are determined to do it. Land as a national issue. Land is recognized as a vital resource for individual and survival and the economic development of the country, explicitly mentioned in the 2023-2027 National Development Plan as a key enabler for economic transformation and development. Absence of a holistic land policy. Currently, there is no holistic land policy, and several stakeholders act in a fragmented and uncoordinated manner in land tenure, administration, management, and planning. There is also no national urban policy or land use to support planned urban development. Sad to see that. Very sad. Dual land tenure system. The Gambia operates a dual land tenure system, including customary and formal tenure system. Customary tenure is predominantly in rural areas, where formal tenure governed by statutory laws is more common in urban areas. The absence of robust land policy framework undermines effective land resource and management and governance. Challenges in land management and governance. The management and governance of land have often been marred by conflicts, inequality, and unsustainable practices leading to environmental degradation and social injustices. The nation faces numerous unresolved land conflicts, a high number of pending land cases in court, a decline in public trust in land administration, dual land issuance, unauthorized land extension, and a lack of systematic procedure for recording, retrieving, and tracking land records. Need for modernization. The reliance on a paper-based administration system has resulted in inefficiencies, impeding effective land application process. There is a pressing need to modernize and streamline procedures to enhance efficiency and responsiveness. Additionally, the deficiency in cadastral mapping further compounds challenges, as accurate and updated cadastral maps are essential for delineating property boundaries, facilitating land transaction, and ensuring equitable land distribution. Ministerial initiative to address the above challenges, including formation of an integrated land policy. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the government is committed to land sector reform. With the World Bank support, the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs is formulating the first ever integrated land policy. Beside the people, the greatest national resource of a country is the land, which is infinite, while there is growing demand for it for several uses. In this direction, the Ministry of Land, Regional Government and Religious Affairs has recently received support from the World Bank to formulate the first ever integrated land policy. The policy formulation has begun, and currently 2 consultants, national and international, are already employed to support the process with the ministry and other national stakeholders. A roadmap leading to the finalization of the policy is developed with the participation of all national stakeholders, and the multi-sectoral technical committee are formed and work has already begun there. The 4 thematic working groups have commenced producing their inputs as per given guidelines. The formulation process will be guided by an intensive participatory process involving all stakeholders, leaving nobody behind, bearing in mind that the diversity of the land sectors. The consultation plans have already been prepared, which involve central, district, and sectorial levels. Consultation will be done with special groups such as women, youths, people living with disability, private sector, NGOs, SEOs, National Assembly Select Committee on Land Matters. The use of formal and non-formal media will be adopted to get everybody on board on the formulation of the national land policy that we all own. Special efforts will be taken to ensure diaspora participation in the policy formulation in order to further enrich the national discourse, views, and voices on the land policy. The policy formulation involved extensive stakeholder participation and focuses on the following: formulating an inclusive, gender-sensitive national land policy. Number 2, conducting systematic demarcation and land registration. Number 3, establishing a digital land information system. Number 4, formulating a land use plan. Establish mechanism to standardize land management processes and procedures at regional and national level. Of recent, we have realized that the process and issuance of land demarcation procedure varied from one region to another, even at the national level. In our drive to address such mayhem, we have received support from the UNDP and will soon embark on a standardization of the land management process and procedure, thereby ensuring uniformity, conformity at all levels. It is our conviction that once such mechanisms are adequately put in place, it will help address some of the land challenges confronting us. The general public will be adequately sensitized on such mechanism, which will lay down standard processes and procedures to be adopted by alcalos and CFOs at all levels. Capacity building initiative. With World Bank support, the ministry hired an international consultant to conduct a capacity assessment and develop a capacity building plan for the land administration section. The consultant conducted thorough examination of the ministry's structures and processes. It assesses the entire structure, from the various departments under the ministry to municipality and area councils, district chiefs, and the relevant institutions that collaborate with the ministry, and highlights areas that require attention and resources. The capacity building plan proposed a comprehensive roadmap designed to develop and enhance the ministry's capabilities to meet its goal by improving skills and competence, strengthening its structures and processes, and ensuring sustainable development. Governance and decentralization. The policy and legal reforms. Pursuant to the ministry's vision to be the platform for effective and efficient local governments and services delivery, plans are on the way to undertake a comprehensive and inclusive policy review and update the decentralization framework and local authorities. Institutional policies, particularly the Local Government Act 2002 and the Gambia National Policy for Decentralization and Local Government Development, thanks to the meaningful and purposeful support from the United Nations Development Program. The Directorate of Lands and Decentralization will soon embark on key comprehensive review and thorough assessment of decentralization instrument and capacity needs of local government sectors. Given that this act have been amended several times, and in a bid to streamline the conduct and procedures of the regional administration and service delivery in consonance with the national policy and program, there can be no better time now to revisit the Act. In line with these goals, the Directorate of Governance, with partners and donors, will review a consulting firm to be hired to lead the consultative process across the country with key stakeholders in order to sensitize them, but more importantly, to obtain their inputs and ensure ownership of the policy instrument. An inclusive legislative development process will be promoted, ensuring the participation of women, PWDs, and youth to participate in the revision. Some of the initiatives include capacity building of the newly elected councillors. Capacity building for councillors is essential. We believe that the training program will enhance their roles and responsibility, ensuring effective local governance and harmony between councillors and administrative arms. Capacity needs. A capacity assessment will be undertaken to develop a prioritized capacity development plan for the ministry and local authorities. This will address technical, human infrastructural, and financial needs. Standardizing land and management process. The ministry plans to standardize land and management process and procedure to ensure uniformity across the region, supported by UNDP. This will address current inefficiencies and improve land application processes. National Boundary Commission. The establishment of a National Boundary Commission was necessitated by a protocol signed between the government of the Gambia and Senegal on the 21st of February 2011, culminating into the creation of a joint Senegalo-Gambian Boundary Management Commission, which comprised of the National Boundary Management Commission of both countries. The National Boundary Management Commission of the Gambia was created under the Ministry of Land, Regional Government, Religious Affairs in 2013 to engage its Senegalese counterparts and international partners in helping to finalize lasting solutions to the protracted land conflict and border disputes between the government of the Gambia and Senegal. The main causes of these disputes are unclear border demarcation in some areas and complexities characterized by the socio-economic activities of our borders. During the meeting of the Senegalo-Gambian Border Management Commission held 25-26 July 2023 and the subsequent third Senegalo-Gambian Presidential Council held in Banjul on the 30th to the 1st of July 2023, the two heads of state issued executive directives for joint border commission to implement the agreement, roadmap, and work plan as expressed below. Conduct sensitization campaign at the affected border communities of both countries, including local and regional authorities and different sectors, security units. Conduct frequent and regular consultation meetings of the Commission to effectively implement the agreed work plan roadmap both in the Gambia and Senegal. Convene regular border commission meetings. Following the July 2023 Joint Boundary Commission meeting and the Senegalo-Gambian Presidential Council meeting held on the 31st of July, 1st of August 2024 in Banjul, the National Boundary Management Commission has been revitalized and several meetings were held to discuss the following: review and draw implementation plan for the roadmap and conclusion of the July 2024 Joint Boundary Management meeting held in Banjul. B, work towards the institutionalization of the Commission by setting up a secretariat at the Ministry of Lands and recruitment of staff to run the secretariat in 2025. Meanwhile, Ministry of Finance has allocated budget for the activities of the Commission for 2024 and a desk officer appointed. Internal search for verification of existing documents on the actual boundaries between the Gambia and Senegal through the help of commissions, members from lands, geology, NCAC, and co-opted retired surveyors and cartographers. Prepared commission to have fruitful engagement with Senegalese authorities for a mutual agreement position on the possible demarcation of our boundaries. Plan tour to all the boundaries across the country. A follow-up meeting of the joint Senegalo-Gambian Boundary Management Commission was held last week on the 30th and 31st of May in Dakar, Senegal, where both parties reviewed the status of implementation of the agreed conclusion. Of notable significance was an agreement to conduct sensitization activities along the border communities in order to allow farmers to continue to enjoy farming activities along the borders. Tour of borders. The Commission has commenced nationwide tour of borders and just concluded the first phase of the tour, which covers selected villages in West Coast, Katong, Dasilame, Dimbaya, Chiboro, and Omoroto Block, Jikin, Ompat, Arangale, Kanilai, Tintimba Village, Lower River Ribbon, Misira Jara, West, and Sandeng Village in Kia. The Commission also sent a team to Sandu District to help address a border dispute between the two villages, one in the Gambia and the other one in Senegal. The team was able to mediate the two parties and urge them to exercise restraint and maintain already existing status quo, while the two countries find a lasting solution to the matter. Strengthening decentralization structure. Funded by UNICEF, UNDP, this initiative aims to support grassroots governance and capacity building in the URR, LRR, and CRR North, launched in 2019. It has completed a series of capacity building activities, including restructuring and training of VDCs, WCs, WDCs, benefiting 386 VDCs and 30 WDCs, promoting women participation in community development, leadership, and political reform platform, establishing and alienating community child protection communities in 145 communities, orienting community actors, elders, and leaders on case management for children and the children protection system. Job, skills, and finance program for women and youth, funded by the EU through UNCDF. This project operates in 32 wards across the local governments in the country. It provides performance-based climate resilient grants to undertake climate risk vulnerability assessment and implement priority adoption and measures. A total of $2,070,000 was disbursed between 2019 and 2023, creating over 4,578 temporary jobs for women and children, for youth and women. Government has contributed over $30 million for the continuation of this project. Program accelerated community development. The Gambia government initiative to deliver quick dividends to rural communities, particularly hard-to-reach areas. The department, in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, focuses on food security. Subcomponent beneficiary communities have received 38 facilities, including 19 tractors and post-harvest machines. Appropriate Technology Unit, funded by UNIDO through the Social Development Fund, the project focuses on providing low-cost, energy-efficient technologies, including the production of 1,600 energy-efficient stoves and training youths in various appropriate technology design. The unit also supports skills training and building sanitary facilities. Climate Smart Rural WASP project. Funded by ADB, this project designed communities, latrines, train artisans to address open defecation. It coordinates the construction of 40 industrial latrines in schools, health facilities, and other public areas. Support to small ruminants production. The department provides capacity building training on groups, management, and governance for beneficiary and monitors the operation of facilities. Gambia Social Safety Network. In partnership with NANA and the Department of Social Welfare, this project provides unconditional cash transfer to 16,966 households in 20 districts. A follow-up to the project. The resilience, inclusive skills, and equity race project is in the preparatory stage. Cross-border initiative, in partnership with IOM and FAO, the department supports border communities in promoting coexistence and addressing their priorities. Key affected communities include Dasilame, Jiboro, Koto, Misira, Tambanding, and Sinchubara. Just a quick one. Yesterday, I had a meeting with the state agencies in this country, their executive. Day before yesterday, I received a lady, civil servant, came to my office, said, Minister, I want to see you. Say, you don't have an appointment. Say, I don't think I need an appointment, Mr. Minister. I understand nobody gets appointment coming to you. I want to see you. She insisted on seeing me, and I saw her. She gave me a paper. Her mother, her father, her brother, all the money they had in life, they bought a piece of land from an agent that can never show them where the land is. All their savings went in vain. Immediately, I ordered the estate agencies executive to come and meet me the next day. A couple of it, they have already sought for an appointment. We met them yesterday, and I've given directives. We cannot wait for the law. We'll put in regulation to regulate them. From Monday, they are starting to, I'm giving them 2 weeks to produce list for them to be gazetted, and we will deal with them in according to law. We cannot let that continue in this country. Scamming people, taking money, selling land that does not belong to you will end. And we have to ask a question. Let me tell you, why that when you steal a car, you go to sell it to Sankare. When Sankare is caught, you, the one who stole the car, and the one who bought it will be arrested and charged. Why when someone sold you land that does not belong to you, him or her, you are never taken to court? Why in this country? Why? You rob people of their saving in their life, and then you go scot-free in the streets. Why those families continue languish in poverty and dismay? That would end. And I've told them I want the regulation in 2 weeks. We'll gazette them and we'll reinforce them in court of law. They will be dealt with. Whilst we will, during our World Bank conference, I've seen what other countries have done. I've told them we will conduct a study, we'll send them for study to go, compare, and we try to establish a law in this country to protect the consumers at every level. Everybody comes up with an agency, starts scamming people. That has to end. There must be rule of law in a country. We can't allow people to be breaking the law and get away with it. And let me tell you that. The sad story you will discover. 80% of all our cases in the courts are on land. Will you believe that? You know why? Everybody who has the car, I'm not referring to you, want to be in the land business as lawyers. And let me tell you, one of the biggest grabbers of land in this country, count members of the legal fraternity #1. Let them, I'm saying this. Yeah, let them hear me. I mean, I'm saying what is in my heart, what I've seen. And let me tell you the second thing. They will talk about human rights when somebody is arrested. They will insult the government. You are doing this human right violation. When our land is being robbed, they never utter a word about that. When our children and our land property is being robbed and taken by all other means and all other schemes, they never talk about the right to land. They only talk about right to freedom of speech when a journalist or somebody is arrested. But the people being robbed of their most important commodity, they will never talk about it. For small issue, they say go to court, because that's how they make the money. Yeah, it's a fact. We call them to join us in the formulation of this policy. And that's why, that's why when we had the committee, the committee on this policy, the bar association was leading it. Somebody told me it should not be the bar. I said, leave them there. Let them lead the legal, that aspect of the committee. Let them lead it. Let the bar lead it. Then they will come to know what's happening. Look, you cannot wake up one day, take our land, using all sort of means, impoverishing us. It has to stop somewhere. This country belongs to all of us. I am not perfect. None of us is perfect. But we must be seen to be doing what is right for our country. I think basically for me, that's what is important. And let me tell you, in the ministry, the World Bank have provided us $2 million to train 100 university graduates, mold them, take them to the best universities. They can take over this ministry gradually for future administration. It's the only way out. We need men and women of skills and knowledge who are trained, and we have to invest in this, in the human development, of capacity development of our people. We have to invest in it. And when you do that, you must pay them what they need to be paid. These are technicians. If you can pay the lawyers extra, why don't you pay people with specialized skills in the system of government to retain and maintain them? The attrition rate is high in most part of our government system because the specialized people with special skills and knowledge are not being remunerated to suit their needs. And therefore, everybody wants to build a healthy family, and they have a better offer, they will go. So I believe that after all this training, we need to see how we retain some of these people in the system. And those 100 Gambians will be selected professionally, and they will be trained. And I believe that once we phase out the current ones who have this institutional memory, who have the knowledge, they will guide them. By the time they reach a certain level, those people would have been in a position to take over this country's policy and program with everything in place. You can sit in the office to know where land is available, who gave land for what, why was that land given away. That's the time we take full ownership of our country. Not when the minister can just call, Demba, okay, we give you this land, and that's the end of the story. We have to end that. That has to end somewhere. As I said, the journey is not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult because there are serious big people, a lot of guns, a lot of money who are going to be affected by our future policy. So we are expecting more petition from them because they will go and sponsor petition in the assembly everywhere, thinking that they can detract us or change our opinion and mind and direction. They will fail, hopefully. And I think, as I said before I conclude, President Barrow has given us 1,000% support in this process, unwavering support. And every day he said, I am 100% behind you, Honorable Minister, let's get it done with your team. The political support is there, the will is there, determination, the zeal, and inshallah, together, all of us, we need to get it done. So that when we are gone, we have something to leave for these kids. And let me tell you too, very sad thing I've discovered. People are given land, they cannot even pay rent where they live. Allocated land. Next 1 hour they go and sell it to somebody, pittance, wallahi. And they end up having no house, no land. The money they spend in 6 months, the money is gone. What this government plans to do is to work with partners to build nothing less than 100 to 200,000 houses that Gambians can rent and take ownership after the payment of their rent. Because not everybody here have money to build a house. So giving you land when you cannot build is like putting you in more trouble. And that's what obtained in most of the countries in our neighboring countries. We build the land, give it to you, you stay in the house. And then when you finish paying, it becomes yours. And then your children don't know. Look, it's sad. People die today. Next day, 1 week, they give their families notice. They have nowhere to go. And every day, single parents come to you crying for this. Wallahi, they always come crying. I'm being evicted with my children. My husband abandoned me, went back there. My husband is dead. My husband just ran away from me because the husband cannot afford anymore to feed the family. If you have somewhere to stay, you can hustle what to eat. But if all these are absent, life is worth nothing to you. So as a government, we owe it to the people to initiate ideas and policies that will address this. And from today, I will tell you that the moratorium on land allocation is being lifted. And I will, but let me just tell you one thing. I had a meeting with the finance minister, and we are going to have a different policy now. Not immediately. There will be few companies that will be allocated land, but with contribution to the state on the table. Until we get a policy now, there's going to be a policy. We will no longer give land free to businesses who are making money. That will stop. That's why Assembly will be involved. Ministry of Finance, government, to come up with a policy, rules, that when you want land, we know how to get the land. We can tender the land with specialized agencies to make sure that this land is bought and the state gets the money to develop this country. That money can build us houses for the needy. Buddy, come, you are a business making money, we give you land, we get nothing out of it, and you are not even telling us the number of people you are employing. You go to other countries before you must tell them how many people you are employing first. That's number one criteria, before the rest of it comes. We review the entire process to make sure that we get value of our property for the states. And there is no amount of would stop them inducing people. If you know the amount of inducement we face every day, you will not believe it. But I think they are beginning to learn it's not business as usual anymore. It's not business as usual. They are beginning to learn. And that's why there are a lot of insult and abuses, because they are so powerful. They thought with their guns they can shoot at anybody and get away with it. And we have to end that. It must end somewhere. As I said, I cannot do it alone. We all have to do it together. This is our country. And let me also ask people who take decision on matters of the state. Please, don't see this state as your enemy. Everybody who comes, there is a judgment against the state. Every issue, injunction against the state. As if the state is your enemy. Your children, your grandchildren are the owners of this state. If you know the amount of judgment they put against this government, if we are to pay next year, there will be no budget. Let those making decisions in institutions, courts, everywhere, understand that the state belongs to all of us. You hate Adam Barrow, anything government, bam. You don't like anything government, bam. That has to end. This country belongs to all of us. Adam Barrow will go and leave us here. And the Gambia will remain. Jawara is gone, Jammeh is gone, the Gambia is not still here. We'll all be gone. So is our country. Let's take ownership of our country. And this land policy, we want all of you to be part of it. There is a media committee, am I right? Publicity committee in the policy. And I want them to engage. Is the GPU involved? Yes. So we all have to take ownership of the policy that we will guide you when we are not here. And you can all over refer to and have pride of saying, look, that's what we did together, all of us, for this country. On that, Mr. Chairman, it has taken too long. I have 2 engagements outside. One of them is family issue, the other one is official. What's the time now? 1:30. 1:30, yes. I would say my wife is going to make it today, my sister is going to make it today. I have 3 appointments at the office. So I would rather allow that we limit the questions as much as possible. So that, Mr. Chairman, yes, please.
Oh my God.
I call your name, you are not in. He writes very well. Yeah. I like this English. Yeah. I lost 6 glasses in 1 week. I don't know where I
Thank you very much. And the journalists, thank you very much for your patience. It was a marathon speech by Honorable Ba. You know, he was a school teacher. You know, our school teachers, the late Tony Blaine said they always suffer from verbal diarrhea. You know, so, yes. But it was Whitehead, the philosopher, who said that to talk sense is to talk in quantities. I think the Honorable Minister has actually spoken in quantities. He began by telling us about our own fraternity as journalists, that our sense of professionalism needs to be upgraded, and his own position that government should also help because of our skills, you know, needed to be upgraded, but we have no money. So money actually at the end of the day is very pivotal in the training of journalists and everybody for that matter. The Honorable Minister specifically talked about Kamalo, that there were 2 Kamalos. One is Kamalo, as it is known, and the other one is the extension, Kamalo, the extension. Altogether, he talked about 68 plots of land that were distributed, mostly illegally, if I can use the word, mostly illegally, because some of them were issued without ministerial directions, and even where there were directions, the file went missing. You know, in Nigeria, during the oil boom, they had a disease called patriotiasis. And what patriotiasis means is the disease, the malaise that comes with petroleum. So they would just take a matchstick and just take kerosene and burn the fires. So I hope patriotiasis is not always coming here. But nonetheless, it was a very, very lucid, very extensive speech. Without much ado, and since he said he has all these programs going on, I would suggest that we have concise, limited questions, and as usual, you raise your hand, you identify yourself, and then you know the institution you're representing. Yes.
Some questions.
Yes,
I want to go and see my family. Yes.
You have a mic? Zera, where's the mic?
I think there are only 2 questions. Only Ross.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, from the Standard newspaper. I have 2 questions. One on the report on Kamalo. I think it's a very extensive report, and the recommendations are great in terms of course, ensuring that there is transparency and accountability in the allocation of land. But what I haven't had is the issue of holding those who are responsible of those illegal allocation to account. Are you going to hold them to account, those who are responsible for those illegal allocations? The final question is with regards to the issue of land allegedly allocated to the president. One of the opposition leaders in the country alleged that the president is allocated a land for his retirement. He wants the president to explain that, but as the Minister of Lands, I want you to explain if you have any.
Let me not come straight, right, so that we can save time. The last question I'm going to give very appropriate response to my brother Usain Dabo. I'm working on the statistics and detail to give a special conference to respond to him as the Minister responsible land. That will come soon, very soon indeed. So I'll give you that. And I'll make sure that Standard will be invited there. I don't speak on hearsay or on tested generalization. I speak on facts, and I'll put the facts before the Gambian people. Next, the question you asked me is the most difficult question for me. Those who are found wanting, will they be dealt with by law? How will they be dealt with? Absolutely, they will be dealt with. But the process, how they will be dealt with, I cannot really specify. I think this is a matter above me. It has to be a decision, a collective decision. A lot of other stakeholders who are involved. If you will see that there are other ministries that are involved in this process. They need to be dealt with. How and manner are not yet, but they need to be dealt with to serve as a deterrent for tomorrow. I can guarantee you that something will be done. But how far, what measures, what strategy, really I cannot detail now. But then we will inform you subsequently.
Thank you very much, sir. Yusuf Taylor. My question, sir, is that...
Taylor of the West Coast Radio.
Ghana. I'm on many...
Yeah, I listen to you sometimes.
Okay.
With so many misinformation of some of your things about that.
I'll bring you on then. You can come and clarify.
Of course. I listen to everything you people are saying.
Please.
And I laugh sometimes. Okay. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll go with my question.
Yes, please.
You did talk about that the director will be reprimanded of lands, right?
He's retired.
Okay. However, you never talked about the minister. And the minister
is out of office. So, yes, I don't know. Never I'm saying, thank you. I cannot tell you exactly
what extent, but there will be action done.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then that's good. At least you're getting my question.
Yes.
But you talk about land being allocated to media, right?
Yes. Selected media.
Selected. Thank you. So everybody, not everybody. So those media houses. How many media houses?
I cannot tell you now.
And is the Gambia Press Union a benefactor? The union has been trying to get.
They've got allocation.
Has that been finalized?
You mean a beneficiary?
Yes, are they included?
Let me tell you, take it from my word that they will part of it, even if they are included.
Okay.
If I was helping them when I was not even a minister to get that, if one asked them, they will tell you. I can assure you now, I'm a minister, they will get it.
And my last question is about the missing document.
Not only that one, there are a lot of missing files there. So many Kaito Jama filter jail.
So the missing document, when will we get to an end of this? Because of
we are computerizing.
That's my question.
Yes.
This is why I'm asking, because of this government has had a plan to do digitalization since in the first NDP, which has even expired now.
Yes.
We have a new NDP.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned about the digitalization.
Yes.
When will this happen? Because
soon.
If that happens,
yes.
Please give me a time frame. If that happens, then there will be no missing documents.
Absolutely.
Yes. Then the approval system will be able to follow
faster.
Yes. Yes.
We have the file tracking system already been built. We have advanced in that, and the rest assured digitalization is about that. It will be done. Part of this policy. It will be done. Be rest assured of that.
So this year or next year?
April 2025. About that, next year. We believe that will be the first day we'll roll out the first draft of the policy.
You have a mic? Yeah. Go ahead. Identify
yourself.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, at the start you said you identify a lot of questions, and now you change your mind.
No, because I know that I have a responsibility too with my family. Yeah, I need to. Working hours doesn't matter. I work out of working hours for government. You understand that? I work till 7 o'clock, and then my working hour is 4, and I work till 7. I receive the whole day receiving people, and I do my job when they go home. Yes, so I need to go and see my family.
The President of the Republic, twice at the State of the Nation address, has been talking about the real estate. That there's a bill. I did 2 stories to show that the President was, that there was no bill. There is no bill at the national.
There is a bill. I don't look for a bill. I am taking decision.
I have powers to make regulations, and those regulations can be enforced by law. The bill is being prepared. They are working on the bill. But it will take another 2-3 years before you get that bill. How can we continue to be suffering when we have another instrument to use while the bill is being prepared? The President is right. There is a bill in preparation. But we cannot wait for that. You have to be strategic in government in managing issues of state. Now that I have a power to put in regulation, to regulate them, I will use that while the bill will work on. Period.
No, what I'm saying, the President is not right.
The President is 100% right that there is a bill.
I'm coming.
He's right, there is a bill.
No, I did a story. I went to the ministry. That was before the appointment. You are just doing there, sir. I went to the ministry of justice. There is no bill. So, for me, I'm looking at it.
There is a bill in preparation,
And legislative matters are based on different states. Okay? A bill is being prepared to make sure that we regulate them. But for me, what I saw the last 2 days, I felt I cannot wait for that. I need to use the other part of the law, create regulation to deal with them.
Okay. What does the government intend to do with the prime lands and back into Tanje, Saran?
I cannot tell you that. Now, I don't have all the details with me.
How about the land commission? There's a land commission that was established by this government.
I'm looking at all those commissions.
And is it done?
I am looking at all those commissions to get prominent, committed Gambians to do that. And there are a lot more investigation coming up. And I've already started consultation with prominent Gambians that I believe they are trusted. They will do us a good job.
So what we take home here is full of minister giving us a lot of promises. And
no promises.
Yeah, we did. Everything we did is
no, that's not. I gave you facts. The statement I gave you is not facts. Coming out of an inquiry, is that a promise? Recommendation I've mentioned to you, decision I've mentioned to you, is that a promise? I ask a question to you, is that a promise? The facts that I gave you here. No, the facts I gave you, is that a promise? These are facts written by investigators who came out with recommendation. Who said it? Is that a promise? Thank you. Next question.
Yeah.
So OIC TV, I was going to ask about what government is doing to regulate the real estate industry. We've addressed that. On Mandua, when will they get a new account, sir?
Very good question. I worked on it since even yesterday. You see, I believe in replacing Alcalo. The whole family cannot be wrong. You know, you have lineage, inheritance. I want to respect that, because that's what is in the law. Consultations are ongoing. Even yesterday, I worked on it. And be rest assured that I want to make a correct decision on this matter, so that we don't make another mistake. The recommendation that the governor received was not very welcoming to me. You cannot bring me somebody who was there and removed, and you want to bring him by without telling me why he was removed. Are you with me? So the I don't want to preempt, but the consultation are on. Be rest assured that soon we'll make a decision. Yes.
Any other question? That's a follow-up.
Last one, I think.
Any fresh question before the follow-up? You have a fresh question?
No, I don't have a question. I just want to appeal to the Honorable Minister. What you have said here, I think, is very important. My name is Sidi from Panda FM. For us, we would like to have or appeal when we are discussing some of these issues. I'm appealing we use the national language, because most of our listeners, what you have said here, if we want to translate all those to them, it will be very difficult. Those are it will be very difficult, but if they can hear from the local minister himself in the local language, I think it will help us a lot.
Yeah. If you know the pressure I'm going through today in life, you will never subject me. You will never subject me to be on the radio in Wolof and Pular and Mandinka. Wallahi, it's too much. I can tell you that. But let's try. I think you can interpret it through. You have we'll have the report sanitized and then given away. Give them the documents so that you can use it during your radio program at different stages to be able to. And newspapers can serialize it, and online papers also can do the same thing. We'll get the document perfected today, and government spokesperson and the Ministry of Information will have the documents to distribute to different agencies and media line who want to have it. I think that would help you to do that, really.
And that's what I was going to say. It's going to be very difficult to transcribe or
try to report based on the language. So something will send me a copy, and sometime I will distribute it to everybody at the media house. You'll have a copy. In subsequent press conferences, however, you are at liberty. If you want to ask questions in Maninka or Fula or one of them, yes. Even now, if somebody wants to ask for the benefit of the listeners who want to hear Fula, or one of you more than welcome to that. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Tell this man,
very magnanimous again, as I was saying. Thank you. My last question on your part, I do have some other questions if you guys will stay. The Car Dealers Association They were set to have a press conference with us, and they invited us. But we understand that you intercepted them, and you had a meeting with them. Now, how has that gone? Because there was, obviously this predates your ministry when they were allegedly, apparently awarded a land area where they could do their cars and stuff because of there has been so much Operation Clearing. So tell us where you are.
I don't want to get to what you are saying. I know more than you think I know about. What I can tell you is, I stand to help them. Give them a space where they can sell their vehicles. In every country you go, most countries have traveled. There are areas for car dealers. There are areas spare car dealers. There are areas for mechanics. Well designed. As I said, when you have a policy, you just operate it. You go to Nigeria, and when you go to Abuja next time, ask them like Dele. You know Dele? You go to Dele, they take you there. That's when you find the car dealers. You want to make sure in the Gambia, they have an area dedicated to them, leads to their association, to operate it. They work with the municipalities, and we try to even we raise their money to the World Bank, perfect the place. Let them live in a decent environment. They are creating jobs. They are contributing to the economy. They can't be left ad hoc everywhere. I believe they have a right. And I spoke to them. And they started meeting with the permanent secretaries. I already directed that we must give them a piece of land, wherever it's going to be, but they have a right to it. And they should be given.
Thank you. And mine is about the land that you said the government has to give to media houses. I know right now there's a lot of media houses, I mean the big ones who already have land. The Fast Network has been trying for over 4 years now, we don't have one. But I know the moment we're given one, the talk will start again. But already, there are ones that were given already. What are the criteria? And I hope this time around, the Fast Network will be among the media houses that will have a piece of
You know that I'm never very selective. And when I take decision, I take my decision. I don't need that. What you say about me, I speak for me, it's not as important. I just want to take something that I consider is clear. And I think really, you're one of those who have a very big reading coverage in the Gambia. And not also that you have earned the respect of reporting objective. That's my view. I read different reports. You know what I'm saying? So I am making the decision. Not anybody that makes a decision. And I know you employ a lot of people.
We've been waiting 4 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I saw your name. I saw it there. Let's assure that when the decision is done, we'll do it objectively and fairly. But those that are just waking up an individual person saying, I'm a media house, I'm not saying I will not give them, but they will not be a priority in the first list. But those that I know that they are established, particularly the print media, some of them have been paying very expensive, exorbitant rents. And it's not fair on them. When they have a stake in the country, they are also contributing, even though we may not agree with them in most of the things, but I can see that it's their right to be given a piece of land. And we'll give them. The president have asked me, I've already had it before he even told me I wanted to create what he called the Fleet Street in London. He knows about the Fleet Street. You know about the Fleet Street in London. I want to create the Fleet Street in Banjul, in the Gambia here, where all the media houses, except the television who may have a class when they are close together with their network, whatever, but the other ones, the print media, we will try to get them at least to be in one place. You find everybody. There will be a street exclusively for media houses. So we will treat you fairly, because as you will be treated fairly like any other media house, including the Gainako.
So that's a follow-up question, and that will be the last question.
I have one question to ask, please.
Okay, can you stand up?
And identify yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, TV. So Eyeafrica TV.
Eyeafrica.
Right.
Yeah,
so given the significant outcomes from the local government commission, my question is, since its establishment, is your office actually taking any proactive measures despite the commission's ongoing investigations and to address potential issues that the average Gambian might not anticipate within a year? And also, could you...
I don't even understand the first question.
Okay, my question is, given the significant...
Calm down, ask it slowly.
Okay, given the significant...
You don't need to us, I'm listening.
Okay, outcomes from the local government commission, right? Since its establishment, is the office currently taking any proactive measures, despite the commission's ongoing investigations, to address potential issues that the average Gambian might not anticipate within a year? And also, could you elaborate on any initiatives your office is undertaking in response to the development stemming from the commission's evolution?
To the development?
Stemming from the commission's evolution.
Stemming from the
Yes, that's my question.
Thank you. You are conflicting two things here. No, yes, allow me just to come.
Okay, listen.
The local government commission is not the investigatory committee on Kamaro is another. You understand? So I have not gone into detail of what the local government commission have done. But I have an intention to dissolve it and bring a new one with more energized Gambians to do a better job. That is my intention. Yes. You understand? And then you have the local government service and also the board, the physical planning board. Yes. There are a lot of commission and boards that I need to deal with. But we are looking for prominent, committed Gambians who we can all trust to do this job for us.
I think this lady is talking about the ongoing commission.
Oh, you mean the council?
Yes.
We cannot comment on that until they present our report to us. They are investigating. And you are all hearing it. When we got the report, we know what to do. They are based on their recommendations. Here we are accepting all the recommendations. In fact, the layout, second layout of Kamalo, nullified. 0. All cancelled. We are taking all the recommendations on board. I will implement all of them. Period. And there you are hearing what's happening. When we started this commission, they say it was which one? We are after this, we are after that, we are after that. Big noise in the country. That's the sad part of our country. They politicize every step that you take to better the life of this country. Imagine getting people from the ways. You are now want to politicize that. You say you want to go to court to defend. Who are you defending? Based on what law? You are making politics on everything. Instead of these people going to work to deliver services, they rather pick a small thing and make it a story out of nothing. When President Barrow talks about NAFSOP, these are normal jokes we do. In politics, you do these jokes. When Senghor was telling Ablai Wada, look at your head, it doesn't even have hair, you cannot carry a country. Somebody can, and Senghor, when Ablai Wada was saying your head is so small, you cannot even be president. You know, these are when Abdou Diouf was told, Madam Nakamuse Foras, and the wife was called Madam Mule. You know, I mean, here we see it here. With Hussein Udabo, Jammeh and all us. You know, we have these jokes in our... How can jokes be story of politicians talking about, for what? When we have more pressing issues to deal with. I mean, I think really, we need to change our mentality, how we do our politics. These are traditional jokes among ourselves. We all do it, from here and there. You know, so really, I think the way we are going in politics really leaves a lot to be desired in the Gambia. The Gambian people deserve better politicking than the type of politics that we are hearing now. What is NAFSOP? Also, Bitiki Pol Bagini, is that Bitiki Nar, Bitiki Pol? Is that a crime? No, when I listen to the Rio here, people talking, I feel really bad. We should be above those type of cheap things, really. I think that's the end of it.
Yeah. So for me, it's about.
Tell me your name.
No, I think Yankuba Jalo Foray.
Oh, you are from Foray. I know you, yeah. I know you. Go ahead.
So the question will be answered by you or Dr.
Yeah, you can answer.
The issue of appointing chiefs. And the government is appointed and the chiefs are performing the serving as president of district tribunals. You know, they are politicians. They are appointed by the executive. Let me put it that way. They are appointed by the executive.
Are you telling me chiefs are politicians? No.
Yes. What I'm saying is they are appointed by the executive to perform judicial functions.
And then we are looking at the spirit of the Constitution, the separation of powers. And a lot of time, the distance that they are taking, it gets to the court every time they are losing. The chiefs, because most of the times their decisions are based on things that have nothing to do with the case. So I'm looking at the question is government thinking about that line, the constitutional reform, the reforms, the ministerial reform to address that issue, to take the appointment of chiefs from the executive to a matter of judiciary.
Let me help you, young man, very handsome man. Lovely and handsome. Let me just help you. You see, the chiefs have dual functions. One is the normal administrative area of their district. The other one is judicial based on traditional values, norms and conventions of our society. Those can be interpreted based on traditional rule and practices and procedures, like marriages, like things like land dispute, border place, all the rest of it. They don't preside over criminal cases. They don't, not anymore. But issues that are traditional, you know why they are driving that power from? From the very constitution you are talking about. And that's where when you read the constitution, you have to read it on both sides, not on one-sided issue. The constitution of the Gambia accepts Sharia. And these are matters of Sharia, inheritance. They can deal with matters of inheritance because your own constitution that you're talking about has recognized Sharia, have recognized Sharia courts. So why are you questioning their ability to adjudicate on matters of Sharia, marriages, inheritance? Yes, but these are inheritance. When you say inheritance, my father owned this land, you own this land, we say it's all inheritance. Your Sharia recognize that, and your constitution you talk about recognize Sharia.
Who appoints the High Court judges? The Supreme Court judges?
The Supreme Court judges are appointed by the Judicial Service Commission, confirmed by the President.
The President has to confirm their appointment. Even the judges that deal with the laws.
The Supreme Court judges, these judges, all of them, High Court judges, the Judicial Service Commission recommend appointment, and the President just confirm. See, when you are president, go and see the Constitution, it reads, he has a right to appoint anybody to perform any function he deemed fit as President of the Republic of the Gambia. It's a provision in the Constitution. You are not speaking to a novice in the Constitution. Huh?
I think that brings us to
thank you, young man.
Of this press conference.
Appreciate it. Can we hear you, young man? Actually, please, Minister, please. Actually, in court, in Tampi. You want to answer questions? Okay, the Minister wants to take up 2 questions. Not more than 2. No, thank you.
You have the mic?
Thank you very much. I appreciate you did highlight the statement, a number of statements earlier before the Minister of Youth and Sports and then subsequently the Minister of Land. So we had a few questions which we wanted to highlight on that.
No, I don't need my colleague Minister here. I cannot do that.
Okay. So, you did talk about the issue of cement and that there was an increase of $180. So when did that come into effect? Was that gazetted through law, or is that just a policy that the government came up with? How did that go about? Because it's $180, and obviously that is having an impact with regards to them bringing their cement into the country. From wherever it is they're bringing it from. So, we just want to know, when was that done? When was it communicated? Was it gazetted? And that's what we need to know.
Let me help you. Let me answer that question. I want to tell you something. What is not the issue of my domain? What is not the issue of my domain, but government is government. Government is government, and the integrity of this government, we have a fundamental right and responsibility to defend it. Listen to me very carefully. I have not sought permission from my principal to make this public, but I will make it public so that the country will know what happened. This issue of cement has been lingering. A lot of misinformation being disseminated everywhere, maligning the president, the government at all levels. The government of the Gambia have a responsibility to develop this country. And in doing so, we have a responsibility to raise funds by all legal means. One of them is by either tax or duties and levies and charges within the law. We realized that we were losing a lot of money in the border post. How many of these trucks come into this country and how many of them are paying duty correctly? Who are the owners of these trucks? What our investigation revealed. All this talk you are hearing, cement. Who are the owners? 95% are non-Gambians who don't live here. And what happened? This government needs the revenue to complete our roads. We are saying we have 3 cement factories. The Salam, the Gassem, and the Jawa. They are producing, yes, they are rebacking. Even United States, they reback all their cement. Go and check all the records. The cement of America is where these people of them are buying cement, where America is buying, to go and reback for environmental reasons. Now, you now have these people bringing cement to the country to supply our country at every level. And they have hundreds and thousands of Gambians employed in that, working, feeding their families. Now, the Gambia is a sovereign state. Nobody dictates how we rule and run our country. We have a right, a fundamental right to charge tax, not on duty because of the ECOWAS ELC they call it. When this government decided to do that, we have many reasons for that. One is to stop the dumping, using the Gambia as a dumping ground. 2, the CFA was climbing to a level that it will be unsustainable for Gambian businesses. You know, most of our livestock come from the other border. Today, Tobaski rams are extremely expensive because when they dump the cement here, they go to buy that dalasi to use it on CFA, to buy it, to go back and come and dump, putting extreme pressure on the dollars. When they buy that CFA to go and buy rams, you and I and many others find it difficult to make ends meet. And many of the products related that we importing from Senegal become extremely expensive. That's one reason. Second reason, they are dumping, will close all these factories here. And where will those Gambians working, where will they go? Third reason, when you bring, you must pay duty. How are you managing your duty? We don't want to say all. We are not stupid. We know what to do as a government. When you come to our port, you pay. There is no milis malas. You pay our money into our coffers. When President Jammeh came here, he raised the issue of cement with the president. Said, well, Senegalese cement is not allowed to come here and there is cement coming from what? President said, Mr. President, we have Gambian companies in this country producing cement. One of them owns a company in Dakar, in Senegal. The Salam, he owns a company there. They produce here and they order their the clinkers. They order it, they break it, they produce cement. For Gambia, I only add duty. Tax, not duty, tax on one item. I did not block any of your products. Anyone that want to come here, they are free to come in the Gambia. We have 38 products banned entering your country. 38 products banned entering your country. Salam had a contract to supply cement in Senegal. He was kept 20 days lingering at the border and sent away back to this country. I want Gambians to listen. We own our country. We have to listen, not to listen to enemies of this country for their selfish interest. And Best Water and some of our water companies had contracts to supply water in Senegal. They were sent away because they want to protect their industries. Now you want to dump your cement and don't allow us to put anything to enter your country, and then people will start castigating this government. Adama Barrow made it very clear. He is serving the supreme interests of the Gambian people. And he will never waver in serving this country. And his government is committed to the welfare and the life of the Gambian people. President Jammeh, being a very reasonable president, an understanding president, immediately ordered Adama Barrow to make sure they start negotiation with the two trade ministers to resolve these issues. And President Jammeh said, very good man, reasonable man, very justified man. He said, look, when I was campaigning, I condemned them stopping Gambian trucks bringing cashew from Guinea-Bissau, passing through Kasama. They banned us. Our trucks cannot bring cashew that our businessmen buy to enter this country. Jammeh said, I went against it. I campaigned against it. We should immediately resolve this problem so that we can have a better trading relationship. He immediately ordered that they start negotiation. President Barrow, no wasting his time. The two ministers met and they are meeting in July to resolve these issues in the best interest of the two countries. These people, I had one of them on television program. The way I had to describe the Gambia, I couldn't sleep that whole night. It's not a Gambian. These are dealers who do not belong to your country. 95% of them are not citizens of this country. Go and check your records. Don't we own our country? Aren't we going to protect our own producers, our companies, our investors who invest in this country? If I can sell in your country, let me sell in my country. That's how we interrelate. But we are happy. The Senegalese government is committed. Is committed to resolving all these issues together with us. They are 100% committed. The new government will work with us, will resolve these issues in the best interest of the Senegambian people. And that's why they just came back in resolving some of these border issues. Most of Gambia, we don't have land where to farm. Our farmers are farming in Senegal. Our cattle are grazing in Senegal. Our people are migrated in Kasama, Senegal, to graze their animals. We are farming in Senegal. We need the Senegalese people. We need to manage with them. We need to work with them. We need unity and harmony among these two countries. Don't listen to those detractors who are telling you lies, don't even know what's beneath what we are discussing. We will defend and save this country at every level. Thank you.
My question was actually about the reasoning, which I'm grateful you
have. My question was, I'm grateful you've explained that. My question was simply, has the gazetting...
You don't have to get that.
Excuse me, let me tell you. Excuse me, sir. No, you won't excuse me, please. You are coming from a different school of thought. Let me help you. With all due respect.
So you can increase the government...
The government, excuse me, excuse me, no, excuse me. No, I didn't mention you. Listen to me, I didn't mention you. I said tax. Yeah. All the necessary things we have done.
That's not what we have. We have the recent government revenue measures for 2024. We got it from the Gambia printing press, which is where the Gazette is. And in there, it includes a lot of different tax increases. This is where my
excuse me. Let me help you. All the legal necessary are done to effect this tax. Thank you. I answered the question. I answered the question. You don't like the answer, but I Are we done now? Thank you.
Good morning.